after I moved east in 1990 is you can't find green chili anywhere. And so I was discovered that I was somewhat addicted to it. And every time I went back to Albuquerque, I would pick up more green chili, bring it back. Sometimes I would ship it. Was what it was. And I started making this queso as a way to get my green chili fix, really. And then as green chili became more readily available over time, I started making more queso and giving it to, basically anybody I ran into. If you were a client of ours at Experian or Merritt's Global Events, and I came to your meeting, or I came to a meeting or one of your events, you got queso. Back in 2017, I started fundraising with it for my daughter's high school marching band. They wanted to go to Disney to march in the Veterans Day parade, and put up a Facebook post. And this was Super Bowl of 2017, saying, hey, the marching band needs money to go to march in the Veterans Day parade. I'm making a big pot of queso. Swing by, bring a bowl, get some queso, make a donation. And that's what started it. And then over the next 3 years, I donated $4,000 to the marching band, $2 at a time from queso sales, and decided back in January of last year that the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services might not care too much for me making this product in my home kitchen, even though I'm not making it for profit. I started the process of trying to get legit, if you will, with that group, VDAX, and I was in that process actually when COVID-19 hit and delayed it. And it just so happened that I got my certification on June 25th, which was 5 days before my job was eliminated. So I made a quick transition from the events business into the queso business starting July 1 of 2019.
Obviously, you had an opportunity to create something on your own. Our whole industry was devastated, and hotels and meeting planning and events were shut down really in March. And then, so you had some time to even prepare for that. And so tell me how you prepared, how you made this decision, to go for it.
I guess in my mind, I was thinking that once I got commercially viable, I was going to start making it in this commercial kitchen. And it was just going to be, again, expanding the hobby, if you will. As just a little side business. I thought I'd work a farmer's market here. Maybe I could find some retail, whatever. But it was going to be just a weekend type of a job thing for me. But once all of a sudden I had the opportunity to focus, full time on it, everything kind of changed a little bit. And also the need and understanding that really for me to sustain just making queso, I really need to move about 10,000 pints a month. That's a lot of queso. So I just started digging into all of that supply chain stuff. We're making in a small commercial kitchen in 2 25-gallon kettles. So we're making 40 gallons at a time, 320 pints at a time. And we can do that in about a 3-hour period, which is pretty good. I think, considering it used to take me all day to make like 6 gallons.
So you make it in a 3-hour period, and then you've got to package it.
That's including the packaging.
Oh, so wow. That's fantastic.
Everything, packaging, clean up, everything in 3 hours. We have what's called a pneumatic filling machine with a 10-gallon hopper on the top. We just pour it in the top, and it spits out exactly 16 ounces every 5 seconds. So it's there are times there, where someone pushes the button at the wrong time or misses the cup, and we have one of these like Lucille Ball moments where queso is like but for the most part, it's worked really well. But now what my concerns are about scale, because we could do this. I think we could make pretty easily, probably 500 gallons a week in the kitchen that we're in now. It would require probably running 5 days a week, 10-hour shifts in order to do that. But it's absolutely possible. But right now I'm in the process of talking to actual cheese manufacturers and co-packers and people like that that could, because at some point, I mean, I think we're going to be outsourcing that, and to get into any kind of mass retail, you know, your grocery store chains, your Kroger's, Safeways, Costco's, Walmart's, anything like that. Most of those organizations require manufacturing in a third-party audited facility, by, you know, what's known as a co-packer. So
Right.
those conversations are happening now. We sold about 2,000 pints last month in December. We made 720 gallons between July 15th and December 28th. And it's been going well. I'm up to 20 retailers now, mostly in the DC, you know, general DC area. I keep adding those. Got one in Denver and one in Dallas, the little offshoots. I've got a couple of friends in different areas of the country that are, you know, doing a little side work here and there, which has been pretty fun. So we're just on the path, and just trying to overcome, you know, these obstacles as I move along.
Absolutely. So you're learning a lot as you go along. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk with you, because it's outside the realm of virtual meetings and events, which is my full-time role. I want to talk to you about skills and really what you had prior to this that you and how you transferred those skills, Jeff.
Just trying to seek to understand and empathize with those people that I'm working with, whether it's my supply chain partners, whether it's retailers and the challenges that they have in storing and moving product. And you know, I try really hard not to take it personally if someone doesn't get right back to me, because I mean, you have to keep things in perspective. This is just one little thing in a big world that they're working in. And so just trying to be understanding and put myself in their shoes and think about things, how they might react to whatever it is that I write or say or deliver. I think has been really, really beneficial thus far. And then it's connected to that, but just communication in general, you know, verbal, written, learning how to communicate within their vernacular, and at the pace and speed. I mean, the retailers that I'm working with, some of the suppliers that I'm working with are just not quite the same as, you know, what I had grown to expect in the events industry. I mean, people were Johnny on the spot there, right? Highly customer service oriented. And you know, there are times where, you know, I'll call someone or leave them an email and just no response ever, and that just never happened in our business. You know, I mean, well, I mean, I guess occasionally it did, but it was more the exception than the rule.
I'm going to transfer that to sales skills partially. Isn't passion half the battle of success?
It absolutely, I think it is. I mean, you have to want that willingness part. When I was frontline sales leader, you know, hiring frontline sales people, I really looked at three aspects of when I looked to hire people. It was willingness, ability, and manageability. If you're not willing to get out there and have the door slammed in your face and get punched in the mouth on occasion, then you're not going to make it in sales at all, ever. And if you've got willingness, I can teach you skills, right? So that whole, I would hire more or put less emphasis, I guess, on ability than I did on willingness and manageability, because sales skills can be taught if you're willing to learn and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
How did you get your product in the street?
I just went out and started knocking on doors, giving out samples, and you know, fortunately, the product is really good. It's just a matter of getting out there, and I'm currently batting about 800. So 8 out of the 10 retailers that I've given it to have said yes. Really concerned in the beginning about making sure we had, you know, the operations right, the production stuff going right, that, you know, we're following all the food safety regulations and, you know,
Sure.
all those things buttoned up, the packaging. We've already changed the label like 6 times in the last 6 months. So it continues to evolve. I guess, which would lead me to another thing that I think about a lot, which is, you know, adaptability, and the fact that the world is not black and white. We live in a very gray world, I think. And it's one of the things that's really troubling me of late, is that people seem to be really, it's either this or that. And I think it's very rare that something is either this or that. It's usually something in the middle, right? We live in
Sure.
this gray area. And um learning to adapt and adjust, and you know, um not get stuck on, it has to be this way or it has to be that way, is something that I'm really trying to embrace as we move forward. You know, people kept asking me to ship, gotta ship, gotta ship. Well, there's a lot of challenges with shipping. First of all, the container that I use is a little plastic pint-sized container, and trying to ship that is really difficult because boxes get knocked around, and they break easily. It's a pretty dense, you know, pound
Yeah.
of cheese inside a
Sure.
plastic container is pretty dense. And so if it gets banged at all, it can crack pretty easily. And so we started packaging in vacuum seal bags, which then I can pack a bunch of them in an insulated box, and I put the whole box in the freezer and freeze that whole box, and then it creates a big mass of cheese, and then I can ship that UPS ground, and all of a sudden, you know, it becomes more economical to ship. You know, I do have some people out there over the summer that were paying $150 to $200 to ship $100 worth of queso, because that was going next day or 2 day was really the only way to get it there safe and cold. But I think the overwhelming majority of people are not going to do that. You know, so I've tried to adapt and adjust to that, and we've had some success shipping while it's cold outside. But once it gets warm again, I'm not sure what we're going to do. So we'll have to maybe shipping will only be available in the winter months.
Those skills, but it's also a lot of you're more open. I think these times in 2000 led us to be, as much as people are yes or no, you've got to be open these days because the world is changing every second, it seems like, particularly for our industry. We
Yeah.
don't know what the future holds. Kind of fun though, hasn't it been?
Oh, it's been a blast. I mean, I'm having a ton of fun, and probably I'm enjoying the most is the farmers markets. Not so much since it's turned really cold. I mean, last Saturday it never got above freezing. It's pretty cold out there, but there are still people that came out. I you know, appreciate them coming out, and I think they appreciate us being there. But when it was still warm and nice, I mean, on a good Saturday during 4 hour period, we were giving out 200 samples. And now during the time of COVID, we're giving out covered cups, little 2 ounce souffle cups with chips in a sealed bag. And so everything is sealed and COVID safe and everything. But, you know, some people would take it and walk over to this little area where there's no other people. And I get to watch them taste it. And I just love the look on their face.
Yeah.
The words that they use. Oh my God, you know, they're just not expecting it to be as good as it is. And so that's been a lot of fun. And we're moving, and like we're doing selling a pint for every 1.5 samples or less, when we first started. So that was
That's
the other
great
thing, I
news.
guess, that was really critical to me. It's one thing when you're fundraising with something and you're selling it to your friends and families and industry friends and neighbors and whatever, but it's a whole different world to, you know, put it out there in the general public and have it embraced.
It's awesome to talk to somebody that's in the industry that is transitioned, and we are all rooting for you. How can your friends and those people that see this uh, help Empty Bowl Queso?
I think just spread the word. You know, they can go to the website www.emptybowlqueso.com. We also have a Facebook page, Instagram. Spread the word. If you know anybody in the areas that we're located that like queso, let them know that we're around. It's pretty interesting. Some people just see the queso sign and immediately buy it. They don't care. They don't want to try it, whatever. It's queso, so they want it. And there is a lack of it out there. And then I'm also open to, thoughts, advice that anybody has. I mean, shoot me an email at jeff@emptybowlqueso.com if you've got any thoughts. I think that I'm pretty convinced at this point that I can probably sustain within this market. I think we can grow enough to the point where we can be moving 10,000 units a month in the DC market alone. So that's kind of my primary focus right now. But I do, if there is anybody that is interested in trying to expand in another market, I do have a couple of people that are working on that in Dallas and Vegas, and a couple of other places. So I would love to hear from you if you're interested.